In this video, we show that the cause behind phenomena attributed to black holes is unrelated to mass or to an alleged elastic canvas known as space-time. Work-time is an irrational analogy for gravity and has no place in physics. It is the action of countless galactic threads that compel stars to orbit around nothing and lose their gaseous skin to their surroundings. Black holes cannot be seen because there are no such 0D, no-size, magical nonentities in the universe. Theoretical physicists are creating equations for inexistent celestial objects. Absurd mathematical assumptions versus rational assumptions. Theoretical physicists propose that space is a physical object and treat it as such in all their mathematical descriptions. Mathematicians merge the structural medium with another material body they call time. Both allegedly came into being or already existed in the form of a singularity the moment Big Bang began to expand. Indeed, mathematical theorists hold that it is the expansion of space itself that is fueling the recession of galaxies. Space is also alleged to be infinite and made of mathematical concepts respectively known as virtual particles and dark energy. What can this possibly mean in physical terms? What if we erase the board and make assumptions that relate to physics rather than to math? Let's define space as space, that which doesn't have shape. Space is a synonym of nothing, perfect vacuum. In other words, whether there is no region of the universe that is devoid of matter is irrelevant. We need to understand what the word space means if space is different than matter. We need to distinguish space from the matter that inhabits that region. If something is that which has shape, nothing is that which doesn't. Something and nothing are antonyms. This definition enables us to use the words object and space, respectively something and nothing, consistently, rationally, scientifically. While we're at it, let's also amend another misguided and troublesome assumption of mathematical physics. Theoretical physicists assume that their infinite medium of space, which is made of virtual particles, is in turn populated with an infinite quantity of discrete matter particles. Since discrete particles cannot be imagined to pull on their neighbors, mathematical physics has always struggled to explain mechanisms of attraction such as gravity and the strong force. The force of pull absolutely requires an elongated physical mediator, for else the proponent is in effect invoking black magic and witchcraft to simulate action at a distance. Let us assume instead that there is a single closed-loop thread that makes up all matter in existence. The single thread never came into being because space, in other words, nothing, cannot spontaneously morph into something and something cannot convert into nothing. The proponent would have to explain both mechanisms. The single thread is eternal. It has always been there. This unimaginably thin thread weaves all atoms in existence. Every atom is also bound to all others via a DNA-like pair of segments of this thread. We now have an unbreakable, uninterrupted physical connection between any two atoms. We can thus use this entity to simulate attraction between objects. What is gravity. Throughout the centuries, not a single theorist has ever been able to explain the mechanism of gravity. One prominent professor synthesizes what theorists have failed to factor in dealing with the cause of this phenomenon. If you have the Earth, there's a big mass here, and you have you with your little mass here. Every atom on the Earth is pulling on every atom of you. You're also pulling on it. The amazing thing about gravity is that it goes right through things. In other words, what no researcher has ever realized is that you must identify the invisible, intangible mediators that pull two atoms towards each other. Without an extended agent, theorists are invoking black magic and witchcraft into their dissertations. In effect, action at a distance has served as the scientific version of spirits. Let's make an assumption. Let's assume that all atoms in existence are interconnected by elongated physical mediators. We can now visualize the mechanism that underlies gravitational acceleration between any two objects. When the objects are far apart, these elongated agents merge to form a coaxial, and gravity is weak. As the objects approach each other, the mediators fan out. Each one now acts independently, and the acceleration of gravity increases the closer the objects are to each other. This assumption enables us to infer two components of the gravitational constant g. One is the mass of the hydrogen atom, and the other factor is the square of the speed of light. Little c is squared because torsions propagate between these mediators in both directions, from every atom in the universe to all others and back again. The Earth does not escape the solar system because of the warping of a mathematical concept called space-time, but because every atom on Earth is physically connected to every atom in the Sun. The Sun swings the Earth around itself like a boy swinging a ball around his head. The rope model explains phenomena attributed to black holes. Stars are charged spherical objects. Under the rope model, a star's magnetic field is comprised of countless swinging threads, just like the charged ball we see in the lab. Likewise, a galactic magnetic field is comprised of incalculable numbers of threads that have their origin in the atoms of member stars. Countless threads swing upwards through the galaxy's center and down its sides. It is these threads sweeping upwards, squeezing through the center of a galaxy, interacting with gases and stars, that theorists have mistaken for black hole jets. It is here, in the center of a galaxy, where the density of threads is the greatest. Meanwhile, the threads that sweep downwards interact with stars and gases lying around the sides of the galaxy. Walls of threads swoop down, tormenting a beleaguered star that happens to lie in a region where the density of threads is particularly strong. It is these threads that compel stars located in those regions to orbit around nothing. It is these walls of threads that also interact with a star's magnetic field threads and disperse its gaseous skin. Magnetic field threads extend far beyond the objects that give them origin. Thus, the threads that comprise the galactic fields of two neighboring galaxies will interface at some point. During these interfacial periods, the countless threads swinging in a given region are likely to cause stars there to experience rapid movements as well. The swinging walls of threads that form the invisible magnetic fields of galaxies definitely have the authority to flay the gaseous skin of a star. Conclusions. There are no such things as black holes. A thing is that which has shape, but black hole is a term that refers to that which doesn't. Black hole is all mass and no structure. But mass just means kilograms. The term black hole reduces to runaway kilograms. It is irrational to propose that kilograms compel stars to orbit, especially from a distance. Nevertheless, mass is a measure of the quantity of matter. But a black hole is alleged to crush all matter out of existence. Therefore, theoretical physicists live with a blatant contradiction they never resolved. Pursuant to the definition of mass, the mathematical abstraction known as black hole lacks mass as well. Space-time is also not a thing. Space-time is nothing more than a set of number lines. Hence, it is irrational in physics to theorize that a zero-dimensional, no size, no shape, no volume, no matter, and thus no mass, mathematical abstraction, known as a singularity saturated with kilograms, bends a set of number lines called space-time. Black holes were invented to explain cosmic phenomena that astronomers and theorists believe were caused by mass and gravity, by kilograms acting from a distance. Mathematical physicists have been measuring and developing equations for inexistent celestial bodies. Here we have shown that there is a more rational explanation for the eccentric behavior of the same exotic objects.